Well, the Houston Astros have picked their guys so far in the MLB draft. We're going to talk about their first round pick and the others. And Jose Altuve, why is he sitting out for another All-Star game? Is he really hurt? Does he not like the booze? What is it that keeps him out another All-Star game?
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Find me on X at Eric Talkstros. You find show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us part of your daily routine, whether it's on YouTube or go ahead and hit that little red button down there that says subscribe, or make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. This episode of the Locked On Astros podcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city except for one up north, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Brett, where can they find you on this great All-Star Day?
They can find me at h-vac on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook. They can also find me at Back to the Bullpen on YouTube, on Instagram, and on X. Look, I'm always positive, always Stros. I'm really, really glad to be back. And hey, look, I'm finally back. I got power. That's awesome. Christy Kelly, thank you for watching the show. And we really hope that many of y'all listening to us, if not all of y'all, have your power. We've heard it's up to 92, 95%. Some crazy things going on in the Houston area. But it is a good, happy All-Star day. I'm actually going to watch the All-Star game. I know Yordan Alvarez is in the starting lineup. And so I'm excited. I really hope he hits a home run in his first at bat, which, I don't know, man. Going against Paul Skeens, we'll see. So, Eric, tell me, what are you doing?
I'm drinking, and I'm going to go do the national anthem for the home run derby.
Eric, stop. That's wrong.
It's just Coke, guys. But
No,
a lot of people made fun of Ingrid. What's her name? Ingrid Andress, and she's a country singer, somebody that's been nominated for some awards and stuff in country music.
Emmys.
And Emmys. Emmys. So she's actually
Grammys, not Emmys.
Grammys.
Yeah,
whatever it is. But she's actually a really good singer, and apparently we all thought something was off. We knew that this was, a lot of people went to Twitter or X and Facebook, Instagram, and said this was one of the worst renditions of the anthem ever. And so there was a reason why. And she responded by saying this: "I'm not going to BS y'all. I was drunk last night. I'm checking myself into facility today to get the help I need. That was not me last night. I apologize to MLB, all the fans of this country. I love so much for that rendition. I'll let you know when my rehab is, I hear it's super fun." So she took responsibility, and she knew that was a big spotlight. Home Run Derby is probably even bigger than All-Star Game, even though the big name guys weren't there, like Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve. We'll talk about them, the guys that didn't participate in the Home Run Derby. It's still a big event, and even though the big bashers weren't there that normally are there, it's still a big event, and I think it's the highlight at All-Star Weekend. And so I think a lot of people were disappointed, but it didn't take away. It was just something that I think a lot of people took and ran away from it. So first of all, just get some help, and hopefully she recovers from this.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm probably gonna, because I just came into the knowledge within the last hour or two. Definitely gonna go and probably take my tweet down, because this is a person that said that they're dealing with alcoholism, and I think that's a pretty serious matter. Right. So good for her though on getting help. Good for her going into rehab. It just stinks that she has to. It has to be on full display. Like,
right.
A lot of times things like this happen in these celebrities' lives, or in a normal person's life, where they get this intervention, they get to go into rehab, and it's a private family matter. She was on full display. And honestly, now that I know that, the tweet that I retweeted, I think is 100% inappropriate on my part because I don't think alcoholism is a joke. And so I'm going to actually take that down while we're live on air just because it's not worth the likes or the clout. So I went ahead and took mine down. Actually, nope, boom, there it is, deleted. It is gone. And look, man, yeah, I really hope she has a good recovery. Because that is that can be a real issue. I've seen people close to me struggle with it, and alcoholism is not something to be messed around with. But dude, the home run derby was very underwhelming. The home run derby was not good at all last night. It was actually, it was a snooze fest, man. It was, I don't like the format. I don't like how they rushed. I don't like the timer. King Griffey Jr. was offering like his insight. He said, we got 10 outs. Like that was it. We got 10 outs. We didn't get breaks. There wasn't a time limit. I think that time limit thing.
There wasn't a golden ball. Was there a golden ball back then?
No. Well, no. No, there was none of that stuff. No, there was no. I mean, it was like so when Mark McGwire or King Griffey Jr. hit 27, 30 something home runs in a round, that was legit. There was no like bonus ball. And if you hit it so many feet, and you know what? I'm sorry, Arlington. Y'all do not have a home run hitting park. Garcia didn't look good at the plate. Ozuna being in the home run derby was a bad look for baseball. I mean, they're just a lot of things that this is supposed to be like the dunk contest back in the mid 80s when you had Spud Webb and Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan going at it, and then Kenny Smith out of nowhere is a great dunker, and Vince Carter, and they can't get the superstars. I mean, Yordan Alvarez should be in there. Aaron Judge should be in there. Jose Ramirez, the dude's a great hitter. And he kind of made up for last time. Last time he was in it, he said he was embarrassed from his performance, and he came out and did a good job. But yeah, home run derby. It was someone put derby with D-U-R-B-Y with the Z's. I agree with you. I was kind of disappointed, Eric. I had my hopes because I thought Pete Alonso would win his third title. He didn't hit that well. So it is what it is. We need to bring it back to Minute Maid Park because, Eric, Minute Maid Park, you can hit some home runs.
Yeah. And Pete Alonso also said that he does not want to be traded. He wants to stay a Met. So I don't think it's very likely that he's traded anyway. The Mets have played themselves into wild card contention. So I doubt there's any possibility he gets traded, period. But we'll see. But it's definitely I still like the event as a whole. I think that the All-Star, everything is cool. Then you get to the All-Star game and it's okay. It's fun, but it's not.
All-Star game, I think, is still good. Now, the red carpet thing, I happen to catch it on the fly. Did you see Adley Rutschman's outfit?
No, I did not.
The dude looked like he was trying to be a fancy pirate. I was like, this is so like, I was like, come on, Adley, come on. Like, he was clearly out of his comfort zone and he stated that, but I am not here to see my baseball players look like they're on the runway in Hollywood. I want them to look like cool athletes, right? So yeah, some of this hoopla stuff is, look, I didn't go, but if you go, I've got a lot of friends who went and they've got a lot of pictures like behind them is like Ohtani, on this shoulder is like King Griffey Jr. So that's really the cool aspect if you get to go. And did you see what they did to the old ballpark in Arlington?
No.
They turned it into the All-Star Village was the old ballpark. Oh. So they took the entire field. That's where they did the celebrity softball game. Yeah, it was really cool. I was like, now Arlington did a good job hosting the All-Star game. I just wish they had more superstars in the home run derby. I think it'd have been a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think that's where you get to see, like, I know Yordan Alvarez he actually did not arrive till today. He had some family things he had to take care of, and he got permission from Rob Manfred to not attend the All-Star game. Apparently, everybody that's, according to the CBA, everybody that is on the All-Star team has to attend that event. And so he had to get permission to not attend the event, but he arrived today. Kyle Tucker and Jose Altuve did not attend the event either. We'll talk about Jose Altuve, why everybody's up in arms at that right now. It's not just people across baseball. I've heard some talk show hosts in Houston saying we want to see Altuve in the All-Star game. Why can't we see Altuve in an All-Star game? So we'll go and talk about this in a second.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And you know I love sports. I love them so much. I don't ever want them to stop. But as the playoffs have wound down, there's fewer games. We look, for us, baseball is in season, and that's great. The summer league is here, but there aren't as many options that are out there. But FanDuel's got you covered. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is open the app and dream up any kind of bet you want, whatever mood you're in. All this summer, FanDuel is hooking you up, all customers, with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And this episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks, it's fun. It was a little tough to navigate through the home run derby with PrizePicks. I did that for the first time, but I wasn't totally upset because I was one of 5 million active members last night playing with the home run derby, creating different lineups, how far were the home runs going to go. All you have to do is pick more or less with 2 or 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And you can get in on the daily action with your friends, become part of a PrizePicks community today. You can win 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You turn $10 into $1,000. It is fun. And what they did last night was actually lowered one of the stats. They said Pete Alonso, 0.5 home runs, more or less. Well, of course, you're going to pick more. This little freebie pick they gave you. Check that out. Player stat types you're selecting are going to be there no matter what you want, whether it's Caitlin Clark, Pete Alonso, Yordan Alvarez, or anybody in between. And if you go today, right now, your first deposit, they will give you a match of up to $100 with the code Locked On MLB. Go to PrizePicks and they deposit match you up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Just hit that little red button down there and go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast and become every day, or go and check out Michael Connor with every Locked On Astros postcast as well. He does a great job over there. So I know that we are going to talk about the draft in a second, but I did kind of mention it. Let's go ahead and talk about the Jose Altuve hate. I know that a lot of people, Ken Rosenthal is a big name that's kind of called him out recently. I've heard some talk show hosts across Houston saying, we want to see Altuve represent the Astros in the All-Star game. I mean, I'm not going to say I would not love to see Altuve out there with the greats, because we know that's what he is. But at the same time, it's all about winning with the Houston Astros, and we're okay. And according to the CBA, it's as long as there's something physically that's chronic or something that keeps them from participating in the event, they're okay to withdraw with it. So being hit in the hand, when his hand is purple and stuff, I guess that would qualify him as being able to be exempt from this. But the problem is when he's already pulled this card twice before, it's just a bad look for him.
Yeah, it's a bad look for him. But, I mean, no offense, because I respect Ken Rosenthal. I mean, the guy's got a great website. He does great reporting. But, I'm sorry, Ken, you and Rob, you and the MLB, y'all kind of made this all about the Astros back in 2019. I mean, you guys are complicit in some of this stuff. While you want Altuve out there on the field, it's your reporting that made it look like the Astros had done the unforgivable sin. They had violated all the baseball gods' rules, and we simply know that that's not the case. We know that it was a league-wide scandal, and this isn't about whataboutisms, Eric, but this is about the media having an honest introspection of themselves. Now, Jose Altuve legitimately, I think, is not 100%. And yes, he did hit a 3-run homer, as he chronicled in his article, against the Rangers, but those games mean something. This is an exhibition game. And yeah, it is probably, quote unquote, a bad look. But at the end of the day, unless Major League Baseball makes it mandatory for you to be there, then look, if he's not hurt and he doesn't show up, I think cry over spilt milk. That's fine. I don't have any problem with him not being there. Has nothing to do with the booze. The guy actually is energized by that, but he does make a poignant, effort at the end to say why he's so important. Ken Rosenthal says he is one of baseball's most remarkable players, a 5'6" dynamo with the knack for playing his best in the biggest moments. A baseball career lasts only so long. Altuve deserves the joy of the all-star experience, the lauding of his skills, the mingling with his teammates. Here's hoping next year he finds that joy again. I do like the way Ken Rosenthal ended it. And again, totally saying that with all due respect to Ken Rosenthal, because I do admire a lot of what he does and a lot of the way he reports. But at the end of the day, we knew that once he got hit in the hand, more than likely that was going to be his ticket out. I think Jose would have showed up if that would have not have been the case.
Well, he brought up the fact that before he got announced as All-Star, he was already kind of saying, thank you for all the support and everything, and I want to concentrate on winning. And he's already saying, basically, even if I'm elected to the All-Star team, I'm not going to go. And so it's like, before the quote unquote scandal, he went out there and participated in everything before 2018. Then once everything happened and, Ratface came out with everything in 2019, that's when that's when the whole Mike Fires. So that's when he stopped participating, and the national narrative is he doesn't want to face I guess the national media or the everything, because they have the media day where people go around, but he does that every time they go because the Astros are a good team. And so everywhere they go, people are always asking questions. I don't know if they still ask about the scandal up to this day, but I'm sure they still do. Some reporters, especially some of those in LA, some of those up in New York. But I think this is more about him wanting to spend time with his family, wanting to spend time getting ready for the rest of the season. And I don't think it's him trying to avoid things. I just think
it has nothing to do with that. I mean, Scott Boras, his own agent, said it's about winning championships. And look, we remember what it was like last year when the Rangers beat the crap out of the Astros in Houston in those last two games. And it kind of sucked that they lost the last two games before the end of this half, but they didn't get beat like they didn't get trounced like last season, Eric. But at the end of the day, again, if he wasn't legitimately hurt, Susan had kind of said earlier that, he did state that he was sore after the game. And so, I think that's fine. He is 34, but Ken Rosenthal's right. I mean, he got 55% of the vote, which means he got a lot of votes outside of Houston. That wasn't just all Houston. So there are people voting for him, wanting to see him play in the All-Star game. And I think at some point you have to hope that he's healthy these next 2 or 3 seasons, so we do get to see him in the All-Star game.
Yes. So before we get to the draft, we'll do that next segment, but I do want to go ahead and hope that Alvarez has a good game. He'll probably get maybe 1 or 2 at bats. He is batting 5th in tonight's All-Star lineup. I don't know if he's going to face Paul Skeens, but that would be an awesome matchup if he gets a chance. But I know that the Astros, Houston media the reporters, they didn't have much to do up in media day yesterday. So, but basically they went around asking all-stars, what do you think about the Astros turnaround? And a lot of them had some good things to say. Carlos Correa said, I think it surprised us all the way they played last year and how it started this year. But you knew it wasn't going to last too long. You knew at some point they're going to turn around, and they're still favorites to win the division. You know what they say. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. And even Kirby Yates said that I don't think anybody in the clubhouse was looking at them like they're not going to be in it and be good at some point. They had an unbelievable run last 7 or 8 years. I don't think anyone was expecting them not to be competitive at some point. And there's a whole bunch of other quotes here. Even Logan Gilbert says, I don't think anybody thought they're out, at least people that I'm around. Fans across the country might say different things, but you see the players on their team. I think it's kind of a health thing to begin with. But when they're healthy and everybody's out there, everybody knows what they can do. I'm kind of thankful the way things started, that it helped us out a little bit, but we know how good they are, that they're consistent. And when they're healthy, it's a tough matchup.
No, yeah, and I mean, I love the fact that you get one of the guys from the Rangers, saying stuff that I think that's the ultimate nod. And the fans, quote unquote, may hate the Astros. The fans, quote unquote, may not want anything to do with them, and they may not even respect Houston. But we know for a fact that other major leaguers would give anything to be in the Astros' shoes. 7 straight ALCS. Look, who says we can't go back to an 8th straight, right?
Right. So we'll go and continue this conversation and look at the Astros' future in a second.
This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Go to the Booking.com today or download the app Booking.com. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, there's still time to explore the cities you've always secretly wanted to explore. Those are your rival cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, LA. I mean, we know you want to go there, and there's plenty of options. There's hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay even in your rival's city. Look, I can tell you from experience that using Booking.com is top notch. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the United States for your summer travel this MLB season. And look, if you're just going simple and you don't want to spend a ton, they have deals that you can find as well. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today at Booking.com, on the website, or on the Booking.com app. Booking.yeah.
Guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. Go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast, and we want you to become an everydayer. Go and join the Locked On Astros nation, and we appreciate every one of y'all for listening. So I know today's All-Star game. We're looking forward to what happens in All-Star game. We're actually going to have a second show a little bit later after the All-Star game. We're going to go ahead and have a little bit more Astros talk. We'll go ahead and talk about round 3 of the draft. We'll go ahead and give y'all some news, especially about Luis Garcia. There's a little bit of a development there, sort of, and Victor Caratini. So we'll talk about that. But we do want to go ahead and talk about the draft. I know that you did put a short out there on Zanuck. Walker.
Yannick is Yannick.
Okay, Yannick.
She said, yes.
Yeah, I know that. I should know that.
It's okay. It's with the J, but it's actually pronounced Yannick. I believe that is a Czechoslovakian name, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. My mom's I'm half Czechoslovakian and half Dutch. Okay. I should know that.
There you go.
Anyway, so the Astros did not have a second round pick, of course, because of Josh Hader, and then they went to the 3rd round. But I know everybody's like, well, we don't need a catcher. We have Yainer Diaz. Yainer Diaz will be around for a little bit, but
we need a catcher because we don't have catching depth. It has and that's the thing, because I saw some people saying that, and it's not about who is here right now. It's about what we have coming up behind, and we don't have. I'm surprised they didn't go get more than one catcher. But then again,
they did. They got a catcher later in the draft too.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah. So definitely, it's there's a whole bunch of arms. I believe they got 8 out of the first 10 picks were college arms, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the other podcast. They went with a lot of college picks because they don't have a big signing pool this year because of Josh Hader signing as well. So there's just a lot of fallout because of signing a player with that accepted what is it called, the qualifying offer. So so this is so I know that Yannick went out there and was the defensive player of the year last year. He was considered the best catching prospect. At the beginning he really wasn't, but he kind of came and made a name out of for himself. I know you've already talked about him a little bit. Go ahead and reinforce what you've said about him already.
You talking about Walker, the first rounder?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this kid is a poolside hitter. He can hit home runs. He still has to work on his receiving capabilities. He is a good pitch framer though. He backpicked a guy at the Carbach Classic, which is a pretty big deal when you're a young catcher. I mean, over the 3 years he's been at Sam Houston State, I actually talked with the Sam Houston State coach, Coach Jay, and he just had nothing but great things to say. You know, Sam Houston State actually is the only Texas university to have 2 first-round picks in the last 4 drafts. Colton Cowser was the other one. So Sam Houston State is building up quite the pedigree when it comes to baseball players. Walker Yannick is a guy that you really can see a lot. I mean, he's got a high floor. His ceiling's pretty high. And this is a kid that they believe when he gets to the big leagues can hit for power. When they did look at him at their Minute Maid Park workout, they said he was hitting the ball off the signs in the outfield pretty demonstratively. And so this is a guy that I think they see as a future for the Houston Astros. And, you know, excited to say this, and I can't say this with confidence, that we will be sitting down with the Sam Houston State head coach, talking to him about Walker, some other guys coming in, and about what they do with the Bearcats there for Sam Houston State University. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, definitely. So the Astros in the 3rd round, they went with Ryan Furushi. He is a pitcher, right-handed pitcher. He's 6'3". He did have Tommy John surgery in June. So he's probably not going to start in the Astros farm system until next year. But this is a guy the Astros were really excited about. Before his Tommy John, the Astros had him in the 1st round. So they feel like if they're basically getting if he was going to stay in draft, he probably would have been a 1st round pick next year. So they're getting a 1st rounder this year. And he's somebody that can throw 92 to 97 with hard power slider, and probably has a slot that is conductive to a good changeup in the future. So this is a guy they're very high on. And they also picked a Rice righty named Parker Smith. He was 5-5 last year with the Rice Owls with a 4.23 ERA. He struck out 78 while walking 31 in 89 and 1/3 innings in 15 starts. He's got a good sinker, slider, and he thinks, and the scouting director says that he thinks the changeup has some nice qualities. And we know the Astros like to develop the changeup pitchers. Unmute.
You like it when a guy has good movement on his pitches. Pitch shape is one of the things that they're definitely going to focus on. I love this year how the Astros put out, hey, we got our guy, whenever they picked Walker. But when you look down this list, one of the guys we're really excited about is Caden Powell in the 6th round. He's a shortstop out of Seminole State in Oklahoma. This kid had some gaudy numbers of 502 average, 32 home runs, 104 RBIs, 55 games. And it basically put him on the National Junior College first team All-American selection. And he was Division I Player of the Year. He has crazy numbers. Is a testament to Caden. This is what Pendino said, and adding that he didn't foresee any signability concerns with Powell. That's what you always wonder when you get that. I mean, past the 4th or 5th round, are these guys going to sign? He said, we had Caden at our Minute Maid pre-draft workout. He was hitting baseballs very hard. Actually, it was him hitting baseballs hard off the signs. And so I think I maybe put that on Walker. So I apologize if I switched that up. But he's the type of athlete they want in tandem, in performance with real power. So I like who they got there. I mean, you just go through this. They got a ton of pitchers, Eric. And this is, their full slot of players. They did get a catcher, like you mentioned, in the 11th round out of James Madison University. He's a 4-year junior, 6'3", 200 pounds. But we won't know about a lot of these guys until down the road. We won't know after they go to a Florida Complex League. Will they get signed? Once they're signed, where will they place them? And it's going to take a few years for some of these guys. Walker may be you are most likely to rise fastly through the system. And I think that's what Dana Brown and them are looking for him to do. And if that's the case, and Yainer Diaz continues to swing a hot bat, does Yainer Diaz eventually move to first base and they move someone like Walker in as their full-time catcher?
Well, if you look up David Ramsey, he is 23 years old, so he's probably a senior. So he's probably one of those that they probably get on the cheap. So a lot of these college players, if you look up and down the roster, there's no high school players. So
right.
The reason teams do this is normally college players, especially if they don't have any more options, go back to college, are a little bit cheaper to sign than a high school player that could go ahead and just go to college and then move their draft stock up. So that's what the Astros are doing here, is they're not gambling, especially after losing the second round pick to Josh Hader trade. So definitely is a big the third round, the Astros went more college. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm excited about the All-Star game tonight. And we'll see what the rest of the break has for the Astros and what the rest of the second half has for the Houston Astros. Any closing thoughts, Brett?
No, man, let's just go watch the All-Star game. We'll come back, talk about it, and talk about how the Astros are going to dominate the AL West and take over the division lead within the first week of the second half.
All right. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast, and we will see you later tonight. Go Astros.